Dr. Toni. So good. So glad to be with you all. Today, it is time for Tony Talk Tuesday. Now, we have taken off the past couple Tuesdays because last week, my family and we purchased our forever home. And that's amazing. It's also brought with it lots of things that we're going to talk about today, which are, things that happen that are unplanned, right? Or go off of what we have planned. And then the week before that, my husband and I, for the first time ever, now we've been married 8 years, mind you, for the first time ever, went on a vacation, just the two of us. It's our first kind of baby moon, so to speak. I'm now 5.5 months pregnant with our fourth. And it was kind of like a pseudo honeymoon because we were there during our anniversary, our 8-year anniversary, and we never actually had a honeymoon. When we got married, I had already been a single mom, and he and I had our first child together. So we had 2 young ones. And I didn't want to leave them. I was not in a place where I felt comfortable leaving them for any extended period of time. So we were together as a family, and that was perfect and beautiful for them. But this time we got to go together, just the two of us, and I'll tell you, it was much needed. We went to Mexico, to Cancun, Mexico. It was warm, which I don't mind at all. The sun was out, the palm trees were blowing in the wind. You could hear the waves in the background. It was really beautiful. And the actual reason that initiated us going was that one of my really good friends was getting married. I was in her bridal party. She's a beautiful person. I'm honored to be her friend. She was also in my bridal party 8 years ago. And I got to be in her bridal party while we were in Mexico, and we got to celebrate her and her new husband. And it was really amazing. So I'm really glad we got to go. There were things, though, that even in the beauty and bliss of life, not every single detail or every single thing happens the way that we expect, the way that we want, the way that we plan. And I want to talk about that today because, honestly, let's be real. Who hasn't had the experience in their life where things didn't go as planned, or details weren't exactly ironed out the way that they, quote unquote, should have been, or the way that we wanted them to be? Who hasn't had that experience, right? Like, no one. We've all had that experience at some point in time, right? And so I want to talk about that today, because those kind of things, especially if you are someone like how I used to be, like someone who's like really very much a planner, got things under control, right? Maybe you use the term maybe control freak or whatever terms you use. If you're someone that likes to get things done, have things done in a certain way, or take care of things, or prevent things, or whatever the case is, or maybe you just don't like the unknown or the uncertainty or the unexpected, then you've had some kind of frustration or some kind of challenging reaction to when things aren't going exactly how you had hoped they would go, or exactly how you had planned they would go. Now, I do still love to plan. I just don't need to plan out as goal oriented as I used to the point where like I would plan it and focus on it, and it would be like it's going to get done. Like it would be crunch time, and basically the process wasn't super fun. It was like I'm doing it for the outcome, whereas now I don't live that way anymore. That way doesn't serve us for the long run. It might serve you in the short run for a short period of time, but it's not sustainable in the long run. It's actually wreaks havoc on our brains, our bodies, our nervous system. So the way that I live now is I still have goals, I still have plans, but I allow for flexibility within the process, right? And I focus also on how I want to experience the process. It's a whole different way of living. And it's also what I teach. So if that's something that, you want to get support with, you can let me know and we could talk about that. Okay, so let's come back. So when we went on vacation in Mexico, right? So I was 5 months pregnant, and the air conditioning had gone out of like half of the resort. and the elevator went down and the escalator went down, and you have to like go from one floor to another in order to get to the place to eat, the buffet that like was most often open for you to eat breakfast and lunch and things. And so here I was, 5 months pregnant in Mexico in the heat, which I love the heat, and I love to walk, and so under normal circumstances I wouldn't have minded it, honestly, but because I was 5 months pregnant in the heat without any access to air, and I had to walk up and down the steps consistently because the elevator and escalators were broken, I like didn't have respite, and it became hard for me to breathe within like the first 24 hours or so. And that was unexpected. And I will tell you, I rolled with it at first because I'm like, oh, it's going to get fixed, like no big deal. But then by the third night, when the air was still not fixed, I can say like I definitely felt uncomfortable, and I was like, we need to advocate for ourselves now, right? It's like we need to advocate. I'm not here to fight or create a scene or anything like that, but we need to advocate for what we paid for, and the even exchange of what was agreed upon. And there were a series of other things that happened while we were there too. They had to change our rooms in order to try to accommodate, and they changed our rooms a couple times. And then at one point, like in the middle of the night, the staff like tried to come into our room because they thought it was vacant, but it wasn't. It was there were so many different things that happened. And I will tell you that what I could have done is I could have focused on all these little things, and some not so little, that happened, and it would have ruined my trip. I could have focused on them and got myself all fueled up about them and let it ruin my trip. It could have ruined the trip for me. And then, of course, my attitude would affect those around me too, right? So then my energy would be all off and cranky. And then so would my partners. And then I would bring that to the wedding or bring that around my friend. And it's like, no, like that, no, like there is a difference between noticing when something is off and needs to be addressed, and then noticing when something is off and focusing on how unfair and frustrating that is and getting sucked in, right? And so at first, when I first started to notice these things happening, I did let it roll off my shoulders. I'm not gonna, well, it'll be fixed, no worries. But when it continued, I did realize, no, this needs to be advocated for. Clear communication needs to happen very directly right here and right now. Like we need to do this. And also, we're still going to have a good time. We are still going to enjoy our vacation, right? So it can be both and. But if the frustration takes hold and we feed into it and we add fuel to the fire, I was telling this to my 12-year-old and my 9-year-old earlier this week. One would say one thing and then the other one would instigate just to kind of get the other one aggravated, and they were both adding fuel to the fire. So the fire is just getting bigger. And I said, guys, if just one of you stops adding fuel to the fire will stop getting bigger, and you will both start to feel better because you won't feel so hot and heated, right? It's so easy to get pulled into the fire. It is so easy to add fuel to it because it's like a protective mechanism, but this isn't fair. This is not fair. This is not right. This is not okay. This needs to be addressed. This needs to be fixed. I'm sucked in. Right now, carry this over to our moving process. Okay, so we made settlement on June 17th, which was a Friday. Our flooring, which was over $10,000 worth of flooring, was supposed to be delivered that Monday. So we were going to paint over the weekend and then start with the flooring on that Monday. And it just never came. It never came. The flooring never came. What? No one called us. No one told us anything. It just never came. So my husband reached out, and then left notes on the door because we're between houses right now, right? We're in one house, which is 45 minutes away. That's our current house that we need to sell. And then the other house that we just bought, 45 minutes away, right? So it's not a quick drive to get here or there. So we left, we both had to work the following day. So he left, a bunch of notes on the door, like, please don't leave the flooring outside, because it's over $10,000 of flooring and it's supposed to rain a ton this week. It's going to get ruined. Please call us. Here's the number, blah, 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 blah. No one called us. Apparently someone came, left the flooring outside, and it got rained on. And also they knocked down the electrical wire in the process. So then we had to have that tended to, right? Now I could go on and on because believe it or not, these issues with the flooring continued on all the way up until today, which is now 7 or 8 days post last Monday. Okay. I could go on and on about all of the ups and downs and all of the hours spent on the phone that my husband spent and me needing to go into the store and how the wrong things were delivered and blah, blah, blah. I can do all of that. And it's all true. And it's not fair. And it's not right. And it's not okay. And guess what? I'm still not going to let it ruin the experience of creating our new forever home for ourselves. That being said, I'm not going to deny my feelings when I feel them. That being said, I'm not going to silence what the communication that needs to happen to advocate for. No, we paid for this flooring. We do need this in a certain period of time. We now have had to push our movers back a full week because the floors aren't in, because we are still waiting for all the floors to come in, so on and so forth. So that needs to be tended to. But if I allow my anger and frustration to take hold and make my decisions for me, what that does is it puts me in a reactive and defensive mode where I'm going to be making decisions or saying things that are not in alignment with who I want to be and with how I want to be in this world. That, my friends, happens to all of us so often because it's not fair, because it's effed up, it's messed up, it's not right. And all of that can be true. And we can have all of these emotions, all of these feelings about it. But when we're in the place of anger and frustration, we need to be able to feel that, to navigate that, to validate that for ourselves without letting it take over and become who we are, making our decisions for us and steering our ship. Easier said than done, right? Easier said than done. Because what I have seen and what I have done before too, like in the past, especially with customer service reps that are like really rude on the phone or something like that, in the past, I have allowed myself to get really frustrated. Like, this isn't fair. You can't treat me this way. This isn't how you're supposed to run a place of business, blah, 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 all this stuff that I can get sucked in, and I can come from that place of frustration or anger. And now I'm showing up in a way that's going to make someone else feel like, what in the, right now we're both defensive. Now we're both reactive. And when we are both in that place, whether it's personal, professional, in some other kind of environment, it doesn't go well. It doesn't go well. And so why do I share all of this? Because come on. That's why we're here, right? Like that's why I created this community in the first place, is because the reality of life is that once you create a life that's more bold and balanced, which is what I help folks do, right? Once you create a life that is more in alignment, that fills you up, that makes you feel more full and free in your life, that doesn't mean that everything just magically goes the way you want it to go all of the time. That's not what it means. It does create absolutely more opportunities for ease, more pockets for peace, more chances for a deeper and more meaningful connection. Absolutely does all of that, 1,000%. And then you get to experience more joy in life. Absolutely. It does all of those amazing things, but it doesn't give you the means of controlling all details of all life or all people. That power is not for us to have. And when we allow frustration or anger or stress or even anxiety, any of those challenging emotions to overtake us and then actually become steering our ship, then what happens is we're not in a place where we can make the decisions or take the actions that are actually in alignment with who we want to be and how we want to be in this world. Even if the anger and the fear and the frustration is justified, and if you're feeling it, then it is justified. You're allowed to feel how you feel. I'm allowed to have frustration, right? About all of these different things. I didn't even explain them all here, right? That have happened. But if I let that frustration take over and rule the roost, so to speak, Well, now I've honestly, I've given my power away, because now I feel frustrated all the time. First of all, it's affected my moving process. So I've let it affect the memories that I'm going to have about how we created this new forever home for ourselves and blah, 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 blah. And now I'm going to get more stressed out with my kids. But it's a ripple effect. We lose control of our ripple effect. We lose, not the control of the details, but we lose control of the direction that we're headed in. Right. And so I want to share this here, first of all, to just normalize. Yeah, there's stressors that happen in life. Yeah, there's stuff that's not fair. And yeah, you get to feel frustrated or angry or sad or overwhelmed. You get to feel the feelings about it. You get to, and they matter, and you need to allow yourself to feel. We all need to feel the feelings as part of being human. We are not robots, right? At the same time, we want to also find the way that works for us, which if you need help with that, let me know, reach out. We can discuss if I'm a good fit for working with you, but find the way that works for us to feel those feelings without giving those feelings all of the control, without letting those feelings, on the flip side, be shut down and numb ourselves to them. Because we don't want our feelings to take over, but we also don't want our feelings to be numbed to, because our feelings are indicators that something needs to be tended to. So we do need to tend to them. We just don't want them to take over our lives. Not at work, not at home, not on vacation, not when we're moving, none of that. Right. And so I would love to hear from all of you about what resonates for you in this conversation. What comes up for you in this conversation. Maybe there's something that's happening for you right now that's really frustrating for you because it's not fair. I know world events right now is a big hot topic right now, right? The reality is that if we are functioning chronically from this reactive place of fear, frustration, whatever the case may be, then we're not really contributing in a meaningful or as powerful of a way as we could be to the solution we want to create in this world, to being the person that we want to be in this world. We are compromising unintentionally parts of ourselves that we don't want to compromise, that we will feel, whether we want to admit it or not. Super important conversation, right? So I want to share this all with you on this Toni Talk Tuesday, because like I said, we come here to be real, to be raw. We're here to have real conversations, to share with one another, to inspire one another, and to support one another, to encourage one another. So let this place be a place where you come, you drop in when you need to, you leave inspiration when you need to, you ask questions when you need to. It's not a place where you have to be all the time. It's a place where you come when you want to come, and you don't when you don't want to. This conversation is an important one, and I hope that you choose to notice what parts of it really resonate with you, ring your bells, kind of maybe are pushing buttons for you. Notice what comes up for you, because there's something there for you to learn from. There's something there maybe for you to explore a little bit more. There's something there for you. All right, y'all. So I hope you have an amazing day. If you want to leave any comments, questions, clarifications, or contribute in any way, please go ahead and do so below. I appreciate you and your time and all that you do for yourself and the world in a meaningful way so much, because our ripple effect matters. And if you know that you're looking for a particular kind of self-paced book to help you through things because you need a reset in your life, maybe you're feeling stuck, maybe some of what I've shared here is something you want to begin working on, but you're just not ready to fully dive into working one-to-one or anything like that, you can always find the Reset, A High Achiever's Guide to Freedom and Fulfillment by me, Dr. Toni, on Amazon. And then also I have a beta course happening right now. It's a monthly membership. And because it's in beta, I'm going to actually keep it in beta all of 2022. I welcome you to go ahead and check it out. It's going to teach you how to be bold and balanced in your life and all aspects of it, with access to asking me questions directly as well. It's only $25 a month while it's in beta phase. So you can go ahead and check that out at boldandbalancedcoaching.com under the courses tab. I'll leave that information below for you all. Have an amazing day.